Hi, everyone. I'm going to review today some of my favorite wall poses. This is to really level up your practice to feeling supported so that when you're taking freestanding poses or poses out in the middle of a floor, you can remember in the body that feeling of some support behind you or next to you, against you, so that your poses can just really shine. Great, so let's begin in a seated position at the wall. As we start our practice through the breath, the entryway to the yogic path. So take yourself on a cushion against the wall and allow the back body to find the wall behind you. It's great if you have space cleared around you, and feel especially the back of the shoulder blades on the wall. Maybe the shoulder sockets roll away from the center of the body a bit. The back of the skull gently against the wall. As you do this, the pelvis is wanting to spill forward slightly so that you can keep that curve in the low back, the nice support. We can come into the seat, feel the tallness of the spine, feel the height through the crown of the head as you inhale. And exhale, feel a little settling through the sits bones and the thighs. Take the hands to the thighs. Close the eyes for 3 breaths. Inhale into the belly, rib cage, chest. Exhale. Lengthen your exhale. Again, another round of breath. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. One more simple 3-part breath, bringing us into the practice, into presence, harmonizing mind, space, body, spirit. Flutter the eyes open. We'll take the arms above the head. So allow the back of the arms on to trace the wall and the back of the hands. Shine those fingertips outward like little suns. Inhale. Exhale, we're going to bring those cactus arms down, keeping the elbows bent, and then bring the elbows into the ribs. So we're doing some version of snow angels here against the wall. Inhale. Reach up with the arms against the wall. Exhale, and bring the elbows towards the ribs, snow angels. Repeat as many times as you'd like. Feeling that opening across the collarbone, broadening. Shoulders drop away from the ears. As you inhale, you can lift those arms up, and as you exhale, come into the snow angels. Following that long exhale, dropping through the exhale anything you don't need right now. Beautiful. Allow the hands to just drop to the thighs. Inhale and exhale. Notice the difference. Notice the freedom that you're creating in the neck and the spine. Look over your right shoulder and look over the left. Once again, just getting into our neck flexibility here. Gaze forward, sit away from the wall, look up and look down, drop the chin. Beautiful. Come on up. And then we'll switch to our all fours position. So we'll be here briefly. If you need to cushion your knees, you can always do that with a blanket. So I'm going to come sideways so I can show you how I'm using the wall in this tabletop. Wrists below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Come into a neutral spine. So this means toning that navel slightly towards the spine and making sure that your torso is supported through all of those awesome muscles. And also there's a slight curve in the low back. So let's find that neutral spine, reaching the crown of the head in the horizontal, and do our cat-cow one time. So we're going to dip the tailbone and reach through the back body up towards the sky, drop the head, looking at the knees. And then exhale, lift the tail up, sneak up the spine and look up. And then find your neutral spine again. Now that we've found that range, you can come back to your neutral. Straighten your right leg behind you, curl the toes under. So this may take some searching a little bit in space to find the wall behind you. We're going to do bird dog at the wall. So you might want to inch yourself around until you can lift that right leg up and the sole of your foot is against the wall. And as you do this, notice the anchors here. So you've got your hands in front, you've got the left shin, not the left knee, just press through that shin and the top of the foot. And then we've got an anchor in the back, which we don't normally have, which is against that right foot. Really press into the wall and see if you can find that balance and squaring off of the hips. Feel free to check with the hands there. Inhale, the left arm next to left ear. And as you do this, really feel that energy into the core that you can tap into more easily with the wall there, and then come down to earth with both the knee and the hand. And let's stretch out that left leg, curl the toes under, and lift up. Find the wall with that foot as you lift the leg up, and then the right arm. And just feel that energy through the foot. Inhale, exhale. You'll really find that you might tap into the core a little more using a wall as everything feels a little more sealed in. Inhale, exhale. I invite you to repeat this as much as you'd like through your practice. If you want to go beyond what I show today, just to get your core activated, do that. Alternating sides with your breath. And if you take my regular classes, just noticing the difference that you feel with that support behind you. Another repetition here. And then we'll transition to a down dog at the wall. So we're going to scooch back here until we can curl those toes under and put the heels at the wall. Bring the hands a bit forward and come up into a down dog. Bend the knees if you'd like to at first in our practice together, with the arms reaching long. The spine finds that diagonal in space. And bend the knees, heels at the wall, tiptoes, and ball the foot at the floor. Inhale, reach long through the spine, through that back of the body. Feel the stretch here. Bend the knees, and then you can straighten out the knees as much as you need. But again, feel that back of the heels at the wall. If you want to bend and straighten to take your pace, that's fine too. Bend and straighten. So we're doing our little high heels feet here to really go gradual with our down dog. And then you can lower the heels towards the floor along the wall if you'd like, or keep them in that position. Notice the expansion through those hamstrings, and then walk the feet towards the hands. And then you're going to hands and feet walk as you hang the head down and find yourself at the wall, about 8 inches to 12 inches away from the wall. So we're in a forward bend here, and you can keep the knees bent if you want to protect any low back issues. Take your seat towards the wall, so those sits bones. Keep the feet hip width apart and even. And now, with your knees bent, take the fingertips to the floor, keep the head hanging down, and then see if you can straighten out those legs in a diagonal, a little less extreme than your average forward bend. Again, feeling the support of the wall behind you. See if you can lift up into a flat back on an inhale. And an exhale, drop down. Feel the neck release, the weight of the head releases. Inhale. Exhale, drop down. Beautiful. And now with that wall behind you, it makes it a little bit easier to stand up. So take the hands to the top of the thighs. You can feel that rotation inward on the legs, and hinge up at the hips. If you need to bend the knees, always okay. And then come up to to the wall. You can feel the wall behind you. Walk the feet back to the wall and mountain against the wall. So peel those shoulders away from the center, unround the back. Inhale, shoulders away from the ears as you exhale. So when you normally stand in mountain pose in the middle of a room, just notice that this pressure against the wall, gentle support, helps us come into mountain a little more aligned. Inhale, exhale, and then walk out so that you have a big expansive wall behind you like this, and we'll practice a balancing pose here. This is where I'm going to take advantage of the L shape of this wall, but if you can't make that happen, you can just use a big expanse of your wall behind you to come into half moon, which is something we cover in my class, and I just wanted to have another way to get into it. So we're going to come into that classic proud warrior stance against the wall, the wide stance against the wall. The toes, left toes are going to be pointing out to the left, and back, front heel with back arch matching. Inhale, feel that support of the wall behind you. So this half moon is a pose that has the front facing forward and the hips rather squared off in space. You can really accentuate that against the wall because you have that balanced support, and then you can imagine that later when you try it in the middle of a room. So let's take those strong feet to the floor. Feel the energy of the legs as we pull those feet together energetically, and feel the muscles activate along the legs. Great. So stay against the wall, gaze down at your left toes, and begin to bend the left knee towards those middle two toes. And then just slide the body towards our horizontal as you tiptoe with the right toes, and stay against the wall. Take your right hand to the right hip and see if you can open up those hips so that your sacrum finds the wall. Micro bend that left knee as you go along. So you can really play with this as you go up. So if you don't have that wall at the right foot, you can just take those arms long. Inhale, exhale, find that base, that strong leg on the left, and find your right foot in space. So for me, I could adjust here, and I could use the other wall to play with that balance and place my right foot on the wall. And maybe you have a place in your space that you can do that. Inhale, arms nice and long. And so now you got two anchors, the left foot and the right foot. Inhale, exhale, and feel that support. You can linger in this pose a little longer and feel the length across the collarbones, fingertips to fingertips, gluing yourself to the wall, expanding through the hips. Inhale, come on back up. Feel free to play with that and repeat it. On the other side, I'm going to show it without that other wall support. Same stance, right toes to the right, back toes lined up with that front heel, the arch lined up with the front heel. Again, we're just going to kind of find that wall behind us, spread the arms out, look down at the right toes, bend that right knee, watch it as it tracks behind the middle two toes, and then lift, tiptoe back that left foot so that you can lift it up, glue the sacrum or the back of the hips to the wall, and just imagine that you have a wall next to that left foot. There we go. Try to find that horizontal reach through your spine, the support behind you. Bend that right knee, come on out of it, float on up. Beautiful. And then take your feet forward into that forward bend we practiced earlier. Inhale, exhale, hinge at the hip. Come on down, fingertips find the floor, bend the knees, and you could just slide those sits bones down the wall as we come into our legs up the wall portion. You can take a blanket underneath the sacrum as you bring the legs up the wall, or you can choose to not have the blanket there. It has great benefits, legs up the wall, either way. So what we do to get into this is come to our side, in front of the wall with the sits bones facing the wall. And if you're up on the blanket, roll up on the blanket. Back of the pelvis settles onto the floor or the blanket, and the legs come up the wall, candlestick style. Arms out in a cactus style or long T arms. Find your shape in space and feel the benefits here. The anti-gravity of lifting the legs up that normally carry so much. So before we go into the resting part of this pose, we're going to just make a V shape with those legs outward and bringing them together with the muscles of the inner leg, those adductors. Open and close, sliding along the wall. And here is the favorite of all favorites, legs up the wall. So as you take those candlestick legs, release everything, inhale, exhale. So this has been our mini practice today. Feel free to luxuriate in your legs up the wall as long as you'd like. Feeling that drop into your hips as the hip sockets get to have a really solid connection, fluid connection to the top of the femur. Feel the lightness of the legs. Find your inhale and your exhale, 3-part breath. Stay here as long as you'd like. When you come out of it, you can come into our cobbler pose with the feet together and the knees wide apart. Close the knees and come over to your side, coming up to a seated position to take a celebratory inhale and exhale, hands at the heart. Inhale, exhale, feel the difference. Thanks so much for joining me in this mini practice. Namaste.